Good evening and welcome to the Coach's Box. Ray Halbrook here with Livestream STL. Hope everybody's having a great afternoon, evening, I guess whatever you want to call it. We've got the boys here. We're doing some new fun stuff here. We've got this music piped out here to the folks listening behind us and around us and all that stuff. So here we all are here, and I'm going to open up the microphones to everybody here. Chris Miller, how are you, sir?
I'm here, man.
You're here?
Oh, yeah. Living the
Well,
dream.
you know, it's living the dream. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely.
Let us know what we got going on. Let's get the show started.
I mean, I think we're going to have a pretty good show. It's our quote-unquote Father's Day show. It's the day after Father's Day. We're going to be talking a little bit about our fall sports outlook and what that's going to look like, what our biggest focus for the summer is. And then we're going to talk a little bit about our dads because obviously one way or another they had a big impact in our life and a big impact on why we're coaches and things we still do. And should be a lot of fun, and then we'll get into segment 3 and hopefully get some questions. So if you have any questions for us right now, jump on board. Doesn't matter. As long as they're fairly appropriate, we'll try to answer them. These guys are all scared to death that you guys are going to ask some really crazy questions.
Well, if they're inappropriate, you can answer.
Yeah, I guess I'll answer the inappropriate ones. That's fine. Or we can get some people from the audience here.
Us public school guys aren't going to answer the inappropriate ones.
Always got to be public thing. Hey, we made it 2 minutes into the show, and then you said something about private schools. That's great. There we go. Anyway, but we got a whole bunch of people from Herky here.
That's right.
Supporting the red and black, so they can maybe answer those inappropriate questions since they're out there, or we'll do it during break. But anyway, we got it kind of was decided that we have the public schools, for the most part, in the county have came out and said this is what we're going to do as far as moving forward this summer with our different phases. What do you guys kind of see in your schools? What's some of the stuff that you guys are looking at, and just get your thoughts on it. When are you guys going to jump in?
It don't matter. I'll jump in a little bit. I think that the biggest thing that we're seeing from the standpoint of the public schools is, we'll be able to get started July 1st, which is an awesome thing for our kids. Just to get back in the gym, just get back in on the field or on the track or whatever it is, the sports that you coach. And I think that's the most important thing is just to be able to get the kids back on and being able to do something productive. As far as a timeline that we look at, it looks like the first 14 days are basically a kind of a prelim phase 1 situation where we're just having a little bit of conditioning, skill work, individual skills, stuff like that. Kind of still doing social distancing 6 feet apart, and that kind of thing. So, as far as what it is for our kids, I think they've been off since March 17th. So you can guarantee that a lot of them are probably not in the best shape they could be in. So,
really, kids aren't. They're not doing anything.
I doubt that.
No.
I doubt that.
No.
Maybe doing something, but I don't know that it's productive. So,
hey Riley, I'm sorry to interrupt you here, but there's something new on top of your head.
I know, right?
And it's like covering your eyes.
Well, here's the thing. I've got to put some announcement out here. This guy that's on this hat is Thomas Industrial Coating, a very huge supporter of our program, and one of the greatest individuals I've ever met in Don Thomas. Just an all-around great guy, and does a lot of things for a lot of the communities here in Jefferson County, and is very supportive of kids in general, but he's definitely a big supporter of our program, and I can't thank him enough. So I wanted to support him tonight and put the hat on. You guys are giving me enough trouble about my shiny,
we would never,
shiny
ever
head.
Do it.
So
that would be like bullying or something.
No,
and since we're online, it'd be cyberbullying.
There we go.
The school wall, bam! Bring the hammer down.
So I threw the little bit of support out there to Thomas Industrial Coating and wore his hat. So I appreciate it, Don Thomas. And if you ever need anything from that guy, he's definitely very supportive of our kids. And so I can't say enough thank you.
There we go. Just like that.
Shameless plug.
I don't know.
That's who I am.
Shameless plug. Anyway, Coach Jarvis, what do you think?
Well, we've met as a coaching staff. We're still trying to finalize all the head coaches at Herculaneum on exactly what we're going to do, weightlifting-wise and conditioning-wise, and then sports-specific stuff. And looks like boys basketball we're going to do Monday and Wednesday nights, 7 to 9 p.m. One night we're going to have to use over at St. Thomas, and then the other night we're going to use the high school gym. And I know Blair's going to be getting the basketball girls in there, and Mita's. I got the volleyball shirt on tonight. They're going to be doing volleyball stuff, and everybody's chomping at the bit. I know Cody Hunter. He's probably red faced right now, just thinking about getting started and with football.
That'll match his hair.
Yes, he's been fired up. He's seen all these schools down south being able to practice already, and he's like, "Well, how's that fair?" And I'm like, "I don't know, man." So we're glad we're going to get July 1st. We're glad the superintendents and ADs finally decided to go ahead and let us get started, because we had first heard it may not be until like July 13th or 16th, and we're like, "Oh!" And our new AD. Jason Gilman, and I know our old AD who's on his way out back over to D-Town, and Roop, they were working hard to try to get us in the gym and get us on the field as fast as they could.
What's happening over in Blue Jay land, Zach?
Well, kind of the same thing, but for me, I guess it's a little bit different from you guys, because I'm kind of walking into year one. So for myself, I haven't had a chance yet to meet any of the players, so I'm looking forward just to do that. We've had a couple Zoom meetings or Google meetings, Google Hangouts, and just an opportunity just to introduce myself to the girls. But it's going to be nice to try and match names and faces and really just get back into the gym. I mean, we're all kind of in the same boat. I know we've got some kids that, Blair and I, our kids were out doing some baseball this Father's Day tournament, so it's nice to see some normalcy coming back. But it's really going to be nice to see just the high school kids again and really just get back at it. I think whether it's a fall sport, winter sport, spring sport, I think everybody, coaches, players, parents, we're just ready to get back at it.
Oh, I agree. My son's got his first basketball tournament this weekend coming up in Cape, and I'm excited to actually get to see him play. My daughter and my son have been pretty bored not being able to play any sports, and so I'm glad that they're starting to play. I saw Coach Blair had his kid on there on live during their baseball game and stuff. So it was good to see kids out there, and I'm sure everyone's enjoying getting back out there.
I think that, just going over the last couple of weekends that my kids had baseball tournaments in different places and different things, just hearing around the area and around the people talking, it's just nice to be able to get out and do some things. And these kids are enjoying it. I mean, it doesn't matter the outcome. The kids are just enjoying to be out of the house and being able to do some things that they like to do instead of being behind four walls of a room or whatever that may take in their lifestyle. But I think that's the most important thing, is just getting kids more active now, getting them back out and
get them off their PlayStation 4.
I mean, you can only play Call of Duty and Fortnite so many times. Well, I mean, I don't know.
My son's playing it all the time. I don't know.
My son may be sitting over there playing it right now as we speak. I don't know.
I don't think he's playing any games right now. He's paying attention right now.
I know, that's kind of good.
That's
I like
good.
that.
I hear he's like one of those teachers' favorite kids.
Yeah, I'll give a little plug out as well. And my son just graduated 8th grade from St. Rose. Miss Compton, most of you probably know if you know anything about NFL football. Will Compton is her son, and so
has he signed anywhere yet?
I don't think
with the Raiders. I had thought.
Well, he was, but I mean, he hasn't signed another one.
Think he had.
I stopped following football when they left
St. Louis. Oh, okay.
I'm just kidding.
Well, I'm not going to lie. I don't watch much football NFL-wise either anymore.
Yeah,
I watch the Chiefs maybe a little bit, and that's about
I
it.
might jump on that bandwagon.
Well, they're in Missouri. I'm not like one of these guys that lives in Missouri and roots for Alabama or Kentucky. I mean, I root for Missouri teams.
Man.
Missouri teams, like Mizzou.
He went there.
SLU, teams in the state.
So you're used to disappointment, right? Being a Mizzou fan, that's exactly what it is.
Mizzou fans, they get disappointed quite a bit.
Tyus Edney.
That gives me my edge.
Anyway, Coach, go ahead. Continue.
Yeah, why didn't Grimm jump up and block that Tyus Edney shot? Anyway, that was such a long time
That's
ago.
another segment.
That's
for
opening
another
up
time.
wounds. That's bad wounds.
I know. Yeah, go ahead. I know we interrupted you.
We always interrupt him.
Every time.
Every chance we get.
I think it's in our show notes. It's like how many times we interrupt
so.
Blair? That's at least twice
so.
now, I think.
Well, maybe it's because my wife always tells me that I just talk too much. So maybe it's her inciting it a little bit to you guys.
Maybe we should put that as a poll. Put up on a poll, Ray.
There it is. Poll question number 1: does Riley Blair talk too much?
Oh, that would probably be 100% yes.
Let's get some of your former players and current players to jump in on that. Current ones probably won't say as much.
Well, last week we had a current player saying we're going to win a state title. So, I mean, put the bar high, I guess.
Hey,
right?
you just don't know. We're going to 6 classes, so I don't know what's going to happen.
Oh, goodness gracious.
So, it's got to be really tough, though, Zach, because you're near new.
Right.
And we've all had our kids we're coming back to, and even being 3 months removed from them consistently, just being the new guy and saying, hey, I'm Coach McVey, and you're on a computer screen, and they're on there.
Awkward is definitely the word to use, but, I mean, it is what it is, and thankfully enough, I think this year we're going to have the majority of the varsity girls are going to be seniors. A lot of them are going to be 2, if not 3. Some of them are going to be 4-year varsity players. So for me, that's going to be good to where you have a bulk of the team is going to be upperclassmen. That's something to work with. And if you have any underclassmen, that I haven't seen on film yet, it'll be just, I think, in addition to what we have. But yeah, and so I've told the girls it's going to be different. There's going to be a lot more responsibility and onus on you as an individual, as a player, but we're excited. We're ready to go.
I'm sure AD can give you some pointers on some of the kids too, Dreyer, with as much as he's been around them.
Oh yeah,
I mean, he's coached girls basketball and boys basketball 2 out of the last 4 years over there. So
I mean, he definitely has a little bit of insight to it. So I will say this: being a guy who's coming into a new situation with a bunch of seniors, don't screw it up. Don't screw it up.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
You told me that before, though.
I think I use that same terminology.
I mean, you look over at the shirt you got. Don't screw it up. Oh, I didn't screw it up.
I tried not to.
Come on.
Matter of fact, I think it was I gave you that advice, then you turned around and gave me that same advice. And it wasn't. I'm not one to use any profanity. Zach was like,
no,
don't you? I said, man, Zach, that's tough. That's hard on my ears.
Oh, I don't believe that at all.
So
it's raining outside right now.
You still have your farm boots on, or what?
No, not really. But these probably do have a little bit.
It's getting deep in here.
Pair of those dirty shoes he wears all the time.
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely wearing the Bilbo Baggins today.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad Boar's not here to give me a hard time about it.
Don't worry, he's probably watching and he'll dive right into it.
Yeah, he probably knows what shoes I'm wearing.
Oh, he's actually on the line right now. No, I'm just kidding.
Wouldn't doubt it. He's probably texting me right now. But fall's gonna look a little different. And I know one of the things I know for sure is we all have no idea. I think that from day one on our first episode, we're going, I don't know what this is going to look like in however many weeks. Mm-hmm. And what's really great is we're starting to get back some kind of sense of normalcy. What I mean, personally, I feel it stinks for the kids because as you guys are coming back and as we are, we don't get a chance to have those leagues within the county. Right. That's one of the stipulations that's been put out there. With the boys, I know we usually go to Hillsboro and play in the Hillsboro League. Girls the same way, and we're all on different nights. But not being able to scrimmage other schools, especially local, where if we want to play, we've got to go somewhere else. Now, you guys don't have that luxury. Right. And we haven't gotten any kind of okay to do anything like that yet. And we're still in, I think, phase 2 or 3 or whatever, but –
5-on-5, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. It's just we roll the ball. No, I'm kidding. But
what rules?
What rules?
Their guidelines are like suggestions. Have you not watched Pirates of the Caribbean?
Exactly.
It says it right there. It's probably in the Geneva Convention.
So I'm sure you've gotten. I mean, I've gotten email after email, especially from schools down south, trying to. We did the mineral area shootout last year, which was great, and I'm like, no, we can't come, and they're like, well, why not, and we did the Kingston League also on top of Hillsboro, and this year I was planning on doing both, and, Paul Hamilton from Kingston contacted me. I'm like, hey, we can't, we're only scrimmaging each other, which I don't care. I'm just happy that I'm going to get to see my kids.
That's right. I mean, I think that's part of the thing that I've enjoyed about it is the fact that it's been however many months. That's been really neat to have those guys come back, and you can see a little bit of the difference in how they maybe move around and do stuff because they want to play. But what's disappointing for me is that simple fact is we can't get those kids who have done this maybe 3 years and now in the fourth year they're seniors and they don't get a chance to do that. Mm-hmm. And to me, again, now you guys joke about it. They're not rules. They're not laws. Mm-hmm. They're just suggestions.
Right.
And we have the rest of the state that, again, I don't know how many coaches email me, call me, text me, hey, you guys want to play? And I don't have the okay to do that either. Mm-hmm. I'm waiting and hoping that comes for us, but it might not. Right. But at the same time, we're all waiting or not getting that opportunity, and it sucks. It sucks for the kids because that's what I want to see. I want to see them play.
Well, and just to add to it, it's an opportunity just to create more memories. I know whether it's you might go out of state for a tournament, or you might go to a Branson, or you might go to a Springfield, or in the past I've taken teams down to SEMO for an overnight stay, and you get to stay in the college dorms, and you really just the kids get an opportunity to get away from home, get to spend some time with each other, bond as a team, bond as a program, and they get to miss out on that. And honestly, that was one of the first things that at one of our first meetings several weeks ago, one of the kids had asked one of the assistants, well, are we still going to do whatever trip that they had planned? And they had to explain it. No, I mean we're shut down basically. So it's just unfortunate for the kids because it's an opportunity that for them to make memories that they're just not going to get.
I think that's the big thing about it. These kids look forward to that summer stuff, and it's not as much as it is. The summer is a lot of fun for these kids. Mm-hmm. Even though there's not expectations. Mm-hmm. There's not. They got to get out there.
There's not as much pressure. Let's be real.
Yeah. And so they've got to get out there, and they just get to be able to be themselves and just play the game, enjoy themselves, be around their teammates, be around some of their families that come, maybe go on a trip. If you go out, Coach said go to Branson or whatever, your entire family comes down, and you do everything together. Your prior program, your families all to go, go to Silver Dollar City or whatever for a day or whatever. But it's an experience that those kids move out on, and I think that's the most important thing for us this summer. And our kids, I know I've talked to most of them. They're just devastated that they didn't get that bonding moment, that bonding time, whether it's on the floor, in a restaurant eating a dinner and laughing and having jokes up or whatever it is. I just think that kind of thing is a big thing that's lost. And like you said, you feel sorry for some of those incoming seniors that this is their last opportunity to be able to do that, and it was kind of taken away from them. And that's my biggest thing that I have coming away from this is I just don't want to see our kids be set up to fail. And as more importantly as it is about wins and losses, more importantly it's just about putting our kids in the best position to have success, whether that's winning or losing, or being able to understand how to talk to teammates, how to play against different people. All of those things you put into play. And to me, the summertime is where that really builds up. And for me this year, I was going to be having pretty much a turnaround up at the varsity level. A bunch of new kids that are playing some varsity matters together, and so this summer was a very important summer for our kids to be able to play together and to understand each other a little bit. And so we're going to be a step behind what we normally are. And so
and by the way, I think people are really wondering who's your point guard.
That is the best question.
That's been like the 4 or 5 weeks in a row, and I think the inquiring minds, Zach, want to know who your point guard is going to be.
Well, that's I still to be determined. To be determined.
Well, no breaking news here.
I think I have a pretty good idea if but I'm not going to spill it out.
Well, you're not going to speculate? Come on.
I can speculate all I want.
You should. Well,
we'll give ourselves a couple weeks here. And
I think there's one that has a line of basketball in them.
I agree.
That could be a possibility.
I agree. And here's my thing about it. I want our kids to understand that position is open and available for anybody that wants to take it. And
he's got some girls that play in the JV that can handle the ball pretty well too. So it'll be interesting. I'm anxious to see this.
And this may be a position that kind of gets mixed in a little bit. A couple of years ago we were running the old Grinnell system, 5 in, 5 out. We may see a little bit more of that this season.
Whoa!
You heard it here.
You heard it here. Zach,
Breaking news on live stream.
You need some notes.
Hold on. Yeah.
All right, only 4 people on defense. All right, how do you attack the 4?
Nice.
But I just think that we got more kids that I think can compete at that same level this year. We don't just have 5 or 6. I think we have maybe 8 or 9 at this point, Timmy 10, that can play on the varsity level. So
Sounds like he's loaded.
Wait,
The way he's talking, he said
championship.
he went from 6 to 5, then all of a sudden to 10.
Did you guys?
that was last year.
Did you get some kids to move in?
Nah, nope. No. Couldn't find anybody that was moving in here.
Whoa!
You were
Couldn't
looking?
find
He was
anybody.
looking.
Oh, that's
I was waiting for that pious
Whoa!
comment
Wait
there.
a minute now. I don't care about his kid's education. All right, I don't care about.
It's kind of funny. I think we're both in the same situation. We're both looking. Well, I think you
I
might be
might
looking
be looking for a point
You
guard.
might be looking for a point guard too.
It was a
So I-
conversation that I might have had today with some kids who showed up. And listen, if you can't dribble the ball, you're already putting yourself at disadvantage.
But I think this guy to the left of us already got his point guard. She's been a point guard for a while, so he may have his set, even though he has never even met her probably in person. But he knows that she's already the point guard and started. So
Well, I mean, that's easy when you can just turn it over. I mean, I was fortunate enough to have Caden, and Caden is a phenomenal basketball player. And just say, Caden, I want you to go do this. Okay. And he just bought in from day one, and it was great. When your point guard's on the same page, and you can say, you understand? Oh, yeah, I got it, Coach. And it was no problem whatsoever. I've only had the fortunate time of coaching where I've coached 2 good point guards. Caden was probably the most athletic point guard and one of the best point guards that I've seen in a while. And then, of course, Kobe. Mm-hmm. And my God, if Kobe would have had 4 years in him instead of the 2 and 7 or 8 games in him, it could have been a different story. But when I didn't have those 2 kids, and didn't have really a point guard or a point guard by committee, oh dear God, because handling the ball is so underrated. Now, Jason, what were you saying?
We were talking about point guards.
Yes.
And dribbling the
I
basketball.
think I was talking about how, it's
Dribbling the ball is important.
Yeah, dribbling the ball is important. I lost Tyler Reuter, and now I need a new point guard. And Blair needs a new point guard. You lost Caden Cook, and he's got a point guard. So
Oh, it must be nice.
We got it all settled
When
there.
I need her,
Yeah, you don't even know. Was she good? I guess. He told me.
Oh, he's seen film.
Oh,
Already.
yeah, he's done his homework. Yeah, he's one of those guys.
I don't know where he would have got that film from or anything.
I don't know.
I don't know. Hey, can you not make your mic shake
hey,
there,
I'm
newbie?
sorry. Hey,
Gosh.
Well,
Yeah,
he
new
gets
guy.
the
You're giving him the
crappy
rookie.
headset,
I
you know.
just- yeah,
Yeah,
One
hey,
time there.
let's see. Zach screw up for the show. We're going to blame you for the lightning. So
Okay.
now you're up
Number
to
2. Number
two
strike
things.
2.
Strike two. How are you with an 0-2 count? Baseball coach? You coach baseball?
It's all fast hands there. You know, it's just put the ball in play.
Just don't take the backwards K, right?
Exactly.
That's-
Exactly. You
I
don't like
don't
it,
know
foul
any-
it off.
I don't know.
Get you another pitch.
I don't know anything about baseball except that was number one thing. Don't go up there and stand and watch the third strike. Just got to come in there swinging.
Yeah.
And then I would be the guy who would swing at the stuff that's way up here. And coach is like, "What did you swing at?" You told me to swing.
No matter where.
Yeah, I was trying.
Just don't hang on your shoulder.
By the way, I wasn't very good at baseball. If you can't tell.
Notice none of us were.
We're all like, "Yeah, no kidding. Good
So
job."
let's go back to a little bit about what the summer is going to look like for our programs individually. I think that's kind of what we want to talk about a little bit before we get back in, before we go to a break. Since we had a
break.
We've had about a 5-minute break there. I'll kind of start with our program just to kind of get it off settled here. I think the big thing for our program, with us, the way they're putting the phases in, is just being able to work a little bit more on skill levels and being able to get a basketball in our kids' hands and whether working with dribbling, passing, or shooting, one of those 3 things. But
all important.
Absolutely, 100%. And I don't know necessarily
Evidently, shooting with the Grinnell system, he's going to have to get a lot of that in.
Yeah, don't worry about passing. Just shoot it.
There may be a little bit of that, but the big thing for us, is just getting back in the gym with all the kids and being able to focus a little bit more on skill. But it's just it's going to be a very difficult summer for us not being able to compete against other teams. That's something that we do a lot of in the summer with us playing in that next level basketball up in Lutheran South and Webster Groves that we play in as a high school level. It's really takes a lot out when you're playing 5-6 games a weekend, and you take that out on top of what you already do. It does take a lot out of your kids, when you don't be able to get that competitive nature, and
that's what the kids enjoy.
Yeah.
I mean,
oh yeah,
we're going to get back in the gym, and we're going to try and do our best to social distance. Well, the kids don't want to do that. They want to play.
Yep.
And so trying to find that balance of make sure that we're following protocol, but also trying to do our best to make sure that the kids are having fun and enjoying. That's what's going to be the struggle, I think, this off season, this summertime.
I agree.
You want to get the kids out. They want to be out and they want to play. They just don't want to. There's only so many 1-on-0 drills or skill sets that you can work on before the kids just say, you know what, okay, I'll see you in October, November.
That's right. And that's going to be the difficult part, is to keep the kids engaged.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about that at Herky, and Coach Jarvis and I sat down and talked a little bit about that. I mean, we'd love to go Monday through Thursday, 4 nights a week and be able to get the kids in the gym. But at some point, you got to realize that we're going to try to do those 4 nights, but is it beneficial if all we're being able to do is skill work and conditioning? Because kids don't enjoy that, especially in the summertime. They enjoy that competition and that get up and down and play a little bit and, just to have a little bit of fun. So I think that's the key focus for us, is to make it a little bit fun, but at the same time be able to benefit and get something out of it skill-wise. Coach Jarvis,
I thought you had something.
I was waiting for him to come out.
No, I didn't. I was confused. I thought we were going to be in segment 2, so I'm kind of.
Yeah, this is
I'm
that
my
carryover still.
The carryover.
You don't make any notes. Don't even act like you're all kinds of prepared for this.
It's all up here. It's all right here, man.
Lightning strike kind of got your
guys' plans always change too.
Sure,
so,
they do. We just roll on the fly.
Hey, Zach McTray. I see someone calling him
What is
Zach
this?
McTray.
That's what he said.
That is Brian Deering.
Zach
I think he
McTray.
may be the dad of the one that said we're winning state in girls basketball.
That is. That would be good.
Brian, good to see you. Good to hear from you. Yeah,
Well, what's this
McTray? Is there a story?
No, there really
Story
isn't.
time.
No, story time.
I'm
No,
gonna
not
ask.
Bert.
Brian, jump on
Story
there.
is-
Tell us the story. And yes, Jeff, thank God, Blair is wearing his hat this week.
Yeah.
All right, so when we're talking about our focus for the summer, and when you don't have the opportunity, and as much as we are more open than public schools, and when it comes to doing stuff, I'm not going to hide behind it. It's the way it is. But we haven't scrimmaged. We haven't had a chance to go and play anybody, and right now I want to focus on the little stuff like the drills and things like that. That's what I want to do, but I can't. You don't want to just overbear the kids like you just said. You want to have a chance to play at some point, or even if it's just scrimmaging each other, for the love of God, because kids want to play. And I look at it like this: if you tell kids they can't, and you tell kids you don't need to do this, they're going to kind of move like running water down a hill. You might dam it up, they're going to go around it. They're going to find places. They're going to go out to the courts. They're going to go to someone's house. They're going to play. They're going to go to the Y. They're going to go places they can go. They're going to travel to other parts of the state because they want to play. Right. The kids who want to play will find a way to play.
Agreed.
Well, they already are.
And I know they
already are. I mean, Coach Blair talked about it. We're going to work on skills. It does say in that phase 1, if I remember correctly, that you can do some one-on-one stuff. So
It's like phase 2.
No, is that?
I don't know.
I think
I just want to disagree with you on
Pull it out here.
I'm pretty sure.
he's got the bylaws.
Yeah,
right here.
Are those recommendations?
As long as your players are less than 6 feet, or no more or less than 6 feet apart.
Well, I mean, that's 5-second rule, right?
Public service announcement
What are we
brought to you by
Shadow
Riley Blair.
one-on-one? Is that Shadow one-on-one?
Well,
6 feet.
All right.
That's all you got to put my
Wait, you
hands on.
can't get a closely guarded count at 6 feet. You got to be closer than 6 feet.
That's right.
Right.
So, Coach, you're not counting. I know you can't be that close. Stay back. Stay back. Sorry. That's just it's too soon. Too soon.
might have been, but hey.
So what's your focus going to be then, Coach?
Well, like I said, I'm going to have to focus on a lot of shooting, passing, dribbling, the things. I've looked at some of the others. My daughter went to a little skills camp on Sunday, and they had them 4 at a goal. So I mean, we're gonna have to space them out. We're gonna have to, try to make it as much fun as we can until that second phase where we can do a little bit more.
I mean, I don't know what it's going to look like when it's all said and done. Because and again, that seems to be the common theme that we have is we can all sit here and speculate, and we can try to make plans, and it seems like if we make plans, they're going to change. But you just got to kind of play it by ear. And unfortunately, I look at it like this, and I was having a conversation with my dad about sports, ironically, and yesterday, and he said, and this is not like him to say this. He said, the class of 2020, it really, they had it rough to finish the year. And he said, I don't usually feel sorry for people. I really feel sorry for those kids.
Right.
And I think it's just as bad as last school year ended. I really hope that this school year does not start out on a wrong foot or a bad foot because of this. But we're also still 100% uncertain. We have optimism. There are, I mean, when I look at 28 Clemson players,
right,
coming down with coronavirus, they tested positive. Not all of them are, 14 kids are asymptomatic. But when you have that, it still puts that doubt in your mind.
There's fear. There's fear there, and so what's going to be interesting is, at least maybe for the public school systems, what are they going to do come fall? I mean, I'm sure you've all received emails or surveys, probably like a lot of other parents have. Well, what's going to happen? What's going to happen come fall? And then what happens if there are no fall sports? But
right,
are we going to get back in the classroom? I mean, we were talking over this weekend, with a big select tournament, talking to the officials and the umpires, and they said, what's going to happen? I tell them, hey, I'm a teacher, and well, what are you guys going to do? And they ask all these questions. We don't know. We have no idea. Well, then what's going to happen next fall? We still don't know. I mean, that's...
Yeah, I mean, I was watching ESPN today, and I was watching NFL Live, I think it's called, and one of the guys on there was just saying, hey, COVID's going to happen. We're going to try to play football, and every team's probably going to end up with someone with COVID. We got to prepare what we're going to do when that happens. And like he said, that person's going to have to go for its 2 weeks, and then we're just going to have to continue. I mean, this is something that's not going to go away. So we got to figure out how we're going to deal with it when it comes. I mean, my fear is we put all this work in this summer, get ready for football season. Like, we've been having a bunch of football meetings and stuff. Well, we do all this work, and then we get in the first week of August, and they shut everyone down.
Yeah.
And then we're all sitting there going, and what is that, like he's saying, going to set for the start of the school year? Kids are not going to be excited if they're not playing football.
Well, I mean,
not playing
none of this
volleyball,
is happening in a vacuum.
Right.
So, I mean, it's like you said, 1,000%, it is a part of life. There is no new normal. We don't know what school's going to look like. There's all kinds of ideas floated out there right now to appease the social distancing and how can we address when a kid does or a person does. What are we doing with fans? What are we doing as far as that's concerned? And we don't know. Right. I mean, we can act like we know a lot sitting right here, and we do in our own minds maybe. I mean, I'm the first to say I have no idea.
Well, I don't either. My wife's always constantly on me because I'm a type 1 diabetic. She's like, you need to wear that mask. And I'm to a point of now I'm just like, I'm done. Right. And if I get it, I get it, I guess. I don't want it. But, I mean, I'm going to try to do everything to keep from getting it. But it's getting to a point of where we're just going to have to learn how to live with it and learn how to play sports and learn how to do all these things with it.
Well, I think the big thing about it is, and I take a lot of this, and even my own job and my own career right now, is we need to be more proactive instead of reactive. I think that sometimes you get in that situation where you don't understand how to deal with stuff, but we need to look up forward and say, hey, this is going to be a way of the future. And so where is that, and what does that look like? What do we got to do if this happens again? And so I think that, to me, is an important thing for us to do. And even as coaches and you guys as teachers, I think that's something that you need to focus on right now. What if we do go to a virtual online? What does that look like for you guys? I mean, but we got to think about that. You guys all got to think about that as coaches, as teachers, all of that. We got to think ahead just in case that happens, where we're not backtracking trying to figure out what we're going to do, And I think that's something that, as someone that's in a business mindset, I mean, you got to think in advance, looking forward, and think about what could happen so that you have an answer, a situation that you can provide.
Yeah, but the problem with that is this situation is not something that you can. Advance. I'm gonna,
Well, I think you can if you understand that, if there's a COVID case, what is your protocols going to be? What is it going to be as a program, as a school, as a coach? I mean, how do you handle it?
There's going to be protocols, but then I kind of look at it like plan A, B, C,
but you
K,
have something. You have something.
AA. I mean, there's different things that you got to try.
Phase
I agree.
1, Part A.
Part A.
Right.
Section 2.
I mean, but at the same time, I think you have
page 154, Section A,
Article 5.
Article 5.
So basically, we're going to make this into the Misha handbook.
Like a Misha handbook or something.
If you guys really want some good reading, find that online and really dive into the Misha handbook. It is some really good stuff.
That's a good place to stop or talk about Misha, but we'll go to break here and we'll come back and talk a little bit more about that.
Some music's playing.
I know. It's always with Riley.
When Blair's talking.
Third Riley interruption of the day.
Yes.
Deal.
We will be right back.
Where's the game? Where's the game? Where's the game? There's the game. Livestream STL, now available on Roku.
I wonder what Coach Jarvis is up to.
Jason! What's up? What's up? Man! Oh, hang on a minute. I got a call from Blair. What's up?
What am I doing? I'm sitting here watching the coach's box.
This must be a wrong number.
Since their inception in 1980, SMCI has always been about high integrity and treating people the way you would want to be treated, just like family. Mostly known as a commercial contractor, SMCI has now decided to give the family treatment to everyone. They are now opening their residential department to the public as Home by SMCI so everyone can experience the home treatment. Everyone deserves maximum comfort in their very own home. Isn't it time you come home? Contact SMCI at 636-337-4444 or on the web at homebysmci.com.
This Livestream SDL has been a huge asset for Jefferson County sports, in my opinion. I mean, getting these athletes the camaraderie that they're out there and people can see them. I mean, to be honest with you, I got a call from a coach yesterday about one of my athletes that said that they saw some of her games on Livestream SDL.
Awesome.
So, I mean, that right there instilled to me that this is important. This is important for those kids. And so, I think it's great, and I wish you guys the best. And if you're out there and you want to sponsor, this is a great opportunity for kids to support kids of our local kids and get them support and get them acknowledgement out there, because we have a lot of great athletes in this county.
Well, we appreciate that. And at the end of the day, our mission is much the same as your missions, coaches, to help shine a light on these kids. And get them exposure and get their name out there and help them. And if they can advance, they're better off, we're better off as a community, and that's why we're here.
All right, we are back. Thanks for watching the Coach's Box. We are experiencing a few technical difficulties, I guess, due to the weather here. We're looking outside. It's a little gloomy out there, but appreciate everybody being able to stay on as much as we can here. And before we take it to our next segment here, thank you so much for watching, number one. And number two, you can reach us out on all of these different outlets here. Pull these out of the way here. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, the Roku channel, Twitch, Periscope, and Instagram. So check us out on all of those outlets. And if you're interested in the Roku channel, this is how you get a hold of it. You go to log into videos.tkdssports.com for the Roku channel. We're watching the Roku channel right here, live from La Pachanga right now as we speak. Don't forget this Wednesday, we've got Jeffco Diamondcast Baseball, 7:30. It'll be 7:15 is our approximate pregame. That will be between the JC Blazers and the Rock Memorial, where we will be broadcasting live from our brand new sponsor, the Jeffco Diamondcast Home Dome, brought to you by Home from SMCI. We appreciate the folks over at SMCI. And also we appreciate Justin Neal over at USA Mortgage being one of our sponsors for tonight's show and the rest of our season here. So if you're interested in sponsoring with us, we'd love for you to get a hold of us here, and you get a hold of us by going to 314-852-4398. Give me a call there, or you can go to Livestream, stloutlook.com. Sponsor with us, and don't forget our wonderful folks here from La Pachanga Mexican Restaurant over at 1185 Scenic Drive in Herculaneum. Give them a call at 636-475-4888, or log on to lapachangamex.com. As we go to our next segment here, I'm going to open up the microphones here. Mr. Miller, take it away, my friend.
Well, I think the best thing we can do is really kind of go into a little bit about yesterday being Father's Day, and I think I haven't met Zach. I haven't met your dad. I know I met your dad, and he's better at golf than me, which doesn't take much. Ray, don't comment.
I'll vouch
Jason,
for that.
I don't know if you've met my dad. I mean, he's at all of our games.
He is?
But he probably didn't want to ever meet you
that's probably true.
for our games.
Yeah, I don't think so. He's probably
Maybe when you're at Grandview, he would have liked
well,
it.
a couple of those times
now.
for sure.
Not now.
But anyway, as it goes, I think all of us have had an impact one way or another with our dads, not only in our lives as obviously young men growing up into who we are now, but then as coaches and kind of those sorts of things. So let's just kind of use this time, and this is our Father's Day special. Let's talk a little bit about that and talk about the impact your dads have had in your lives, and I'll do the same. So who wants to jump in first?
How about Coach Miller jumps in
Oh,
first?
come on.
I
I'm
mean,
the one
your
who
commercial,
set this up.
Your commercial was about it.
Maybe
we ought to save him for the end. I don't know.
Yeah, let's not go to me right now. I don't want to talk about it and then just jump in and be the first guy to do it.
I just wish that we got some internet signal down in Annapolis, because I'd love for Chris E. Miller to be on tonight watching.
Man.
Well, first off, it's kind of like if I don't know if we have enough time to have my dad come in and talk without it just pretty much occupying the entire show.
Well, we'd just sit over there and he could sit
yeah,
right
he
here.
could just sit here do the show and then tell us exactly what we're doing wrong. He's like, I'll tell you about your season. Anyway, he's not – well, he can be, but anyway. Zach, you're still on the interim – We're still trying to decide where to keep you on the island
Make
kind
him
of thing.
start first.
You get to start first.
All right. Well, I would imagine, my dad, just like all of your dads, was vital, was always there. Dad, he worked at, we lived in R7. He worked at the River Cement, the local cement factory, and worked in the labor pool pretty much 90% of my life growing up. It probably wasn't until late high school where he transferred out of the labor pool into the lab. But, so we're talking about, hard work, 10, 12 sometimes if the kiln went down, 16-hour days, but always found time. It didn't matter. And I worked there as college hell for summer, so I understand what it's like when it's 120, 130 degrees, and you got to have a respirator on for your shift and you're shoveling and all that stuff. But it didn't matter how tired he was when you got home. Hey, Dad, you want to play catch? Yeah, sure, let's do it. Never missed a ball game. He coached me in the Little League. So, I mean, a lot of the values that he taught was really just work ethic. It didn't matter. Even if he was sick, he was always going into work. Rain, snow, all of that. And so I think really the best takeaway from Dad is just that work ethic. And what I try and tell my son, I tell Ethan, you're born into this world and you have your last name, and that's basically about all that you have. And so make us as a family proud, and really your last name, do everything you can just to build on that. And so, I mean, that's a big takeaway from Dad and the grandpas and all that. But just hardest working guy that I know, but still always found time to, play catch, shoot hoops. Didn't matter.
All right. You want to go, Jason?
I'll jump on here. I'm fine. Well, I'm the youngest of three boys, so my dad had his hands full. He worked at Ameren UE not his entire career, but for 27 years of his life, and he worked swing shifts. Mm-hmm. And if any of you ever worked with or lived with someone that works swing shifts, summer times were rough because when he was working midnights, and he helped build some of this stuff. We had a baseball field in my backyard. I mean, I lived out in Hematite. There wasn't a whole lot to do. Right. So you were either playing football, basketball, baseball, something.
And you stayed outside.
And we were outside. So if Dad was on midnights, you were gone. And we usually weren't around our house. We were like gone, like way far away. But if we happened to stay and you wake him up, during those midnights, it was kind of rough. But one of the biggest things I learned from my dad was work ethic. The guy never missed work hardly. Back in like 1985, he fell off a 25-foot ladder. I think it was 84 or something like that. He had enough sick days that he could have been out for a year and a half and it wouldn't have mattered. He was out for a long time. He broke every rib in his body. And so one thing I learned the most about my dad is, no matter what happens to you, you just got to keep plugging away. And he coached my brothers probably more than he coached me, but we had a backstop at our house he built so that we could pitch and practice, and he would catch us. We still have the catcher's mitt at his house right now, and those type of things. My dad pushed us. He worked hard so we didn't have to. He didn't even want us to really get jobs in high school because he wanted us to concentrate on our academics and our sports, and that's kind of what always drove me about my dad. And my dad's, like Zach said, I would say my dad's the hardest working man I've ever known in my entire life. And I always tell our kids at the beginning of school year, we talk about, give a background of ourselves. And I always talk about, I give them these list of questions they do, and one of them is, who's your hero? And my dad doesn't even know this, but I always say him. And then I explain to my class why. I mean, he worked swing shift and did all this stuff. My mom was lucky enough. He told her once she had my brother Dave, my oldest brother, who's 9 years older than me. He's really old.
He is an old man.
Yeah.
He is an old man.
I hope he's watching. I hope some of his old friends are watching too. But,
at least he didn't get kicked out of a basketball game.
No, he didn't do that at
all. Just one.
I think he told me about, why are you guys bringing that up?
I don't know why we're bringing that up. I mean, because Blair wants to deflect all his technicals and get thrown out of JV games and stuff. But, so, anyway, I got totally off track there.
Coach,
Thanks,
sorry.
Blair. He's getting interrupted so much. He's got.
We got Jarvis interruptions.
Get those down now.
Gotcha.
But working the swing shifts, doing all those things. One thing I can say about my dad, he never missed our games. If he had to work a double, sometimes he'd work 16 hours and then showed up to our basketball or football or our baseball game, and still does. And even though now I'm a coach and he's had to sit through some miserable games, he's sat in the stands and had to listen to some people say some horrible things about me, and he still comes all the time. And
and that's special. Dad does the same thing, and you guys as
Miller's
well.
dad does.
It's special. that they continue to do that. I mean, they could be on a golf course or be, who knows where, but that they still come and they still support us as their son. So, that's special.
It's awesome. I mean, and it was hard to get him to start wearing the black and red because, I mean, all three of us went through Festas. All three of us played sports through Festas, and, that was kind of enriched in us. But now, we're Black Cats. I got both my kids going to be there this year, and my dad, he's supportive in everything I've done in my entire life. Yeah, college, I put him through. I put him through hell a lot of times, and and if it wasn't for him, I probably never made it through college.
Well, I know Riley's got a little different. A lot of people down south think that my dad is Coach Miller, even though he is not.
It's so funny to me.
It is insane, but your dad was actually a coach.
Right.
So you have a different dynamic than the rest of us. So talk about that.
Well, I don't remember it, but I've seen pictures of being, in a little car seat at a baseball field at 2 years old or 18 months or whatever I was, right behind home plate, watching my dad coach Legion baseball. So, I mean, those are the things that, that I grew up with. I mean, I grew up in the gym or on the baseball field year-round. So, it was kind of embedded in me a little bit, that coaching mentality. But as far as what my dad has kind of taught me, two things that stand out to me is, one is he teaches you a lot, taught me a lot about character. Most important thing about is whatever you're going to do it with high character. Put yourself out there in that position where if you do make a mistake, you're doing something with pride, and just do it to the best of your ability. But as far as my dad was in the military as well for 20 years. Got out of the Army after 20 years and also in the National Guard. So he's got a kind of that mentality as well that do whatever it takes to stand up for what you believe in. And that's the second thing that he always told me is stand up for what you believe in. If you believe it's right, stand up for it and fight for it. And as a coach, I take that mentality every day. Those kids are like my own, and so I'm going to stand up and fight for them tooth and nail until the finish. And
with referees.
Well, that might be a little bit of the case, but and one thing that I took from my dad as far as a coaching thing was passion. And I take a lot of pride in my coaching because I'm very passionate about coaching. And that to me is something that I will take forever with me as long as I'm on this earth. But the coaching mentality is do what's best for the kids first and you second. And if you're not doing that, you're putting yourself in the best position to be successful, and you're not putting those kids in the best position to be successful. So I can't thank my dad enough. They live 2.5 hours away from here, and you won't find a night pretty much throughout the entire winter season where the mom and dad won't drive over here 2 hours to watch a basketball game.
That's awesome.
We played down at North County. This year it was a terrible snowstorm. Mom and dad were on the road right behind us. They were there and drove 2 hours to be there. So, I mean, those are the kind of things that, they don't get home to 1 or 2:30 in the morning, but, mom still have to work. Dad's retired. But, they were just getting home at 1 o'clock in the morning and get back up at 5:30 and doing the thing. But that's just the support level that I have from my dad, and I've seen it growing up as well. Mom was always on the same side of it, very supportive of what we did as a family. And so I take a lot from my dad, and being so 2.5 hours away, I miss out on a lot of things that I can do with my dad. Last weekend or a couple weeks ago, we played golf together in Brian Waits' tournament. And those are the kind of moments that as a son and dad thing that you take for granted sometimes, those things. And they come and go pretty quickly. So I just take a lot of pride in being able to spend a little time with Dad. And, yesterday I didn't get to do that. But, the other thing that I got to do yesterday on Father's Day was spend a little time with my boys and be a dad. And so my dad always taught me is, hey, whatever your kids are doing, be supportive of them. My son was here earlier. My older son was here earlier. He just left. But, a lot of what I try to instill in my kids is be very supportive of your family, and I'm definitely that, and I got that from my dad because that's the way our family grew up. Going forward, was we were very supportive of each other, and I was there for everything that my dad did, and he's still here for me today, being able to support me on the sidelines. So
it's awesome.
Yeah.
You're just looking at me like I get
a little emotional.
I can hear the snare drum.
I remembered what I was in the middle of saying earlier while he was talking about that. My dad told my mother not to go back to work. She was a teacher, and that was part of the reason we have a lot of teaching in our family. And he wanted her to stay home and take care of us boys. And boy, she had a lot of work to do to take care of 3 boys, and just to feed us was one of the biggest. I mean, I'd bring some people to our house to eat, and they'd be like, "How do they have 6 different sides with one meal?" And I'm like, "Dude, I got 2 older brothers and me. We eat."
That's right.
I mean, So.
I bet you guys weren't rambunctious at all.
Oh, no, not at all.
Not at all.
So I got a question, Jason.
Here
it is, I don't really pay attention to a lot of that stuff, but what's the nickname of all 3 of you guys?
Well, we did. It started with Dave. Okay. Well, he's been called Meathead, Lockhead, whatever head, but Jughead is the one that stuck.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah, we got Jughead. My brother, who's in between me and Dave, the middle brother, he didn't have quite as big a head as me and Dave do, but they still called him Jughead, and I'm Jughead number 3. So,
Does that come from anybody? Nobody.
I don't know how Dave got it. Okay. Something to do with just because he had such a big head, they call him Jughead. I don't know. I mean, he could tell you more of a story about it. I'm sure there's guys, some of them watching, Waits could probably maybe tell you a little bit more about it. I'm not sure exactly where it came from, but yeah, I've been called Juggy, ever since. Yeah, so
I can see if people are afraid to maybe ask these questions or comment because it's like they're going to open up some kind of Pandora's box or like, oh yeah, we can't put that out there for these guys.
Oh, I think it'd be great.
Well, I mean, I just inherited it. I was the 3rd, so I mean, I just kind of inherited it from my brothers, but.
Yeah, I always noticed that on your posts and stuff. Jughouse number 3's house or whatever. Yeah.
So Jughead number 3's crib.
Jughead's crib.
There it is. There it is.
Crib. Yeah, that's right.
It works. It works. And you guys had some really good dad stories.
All right.
I guess we're moving on.
Look at us. We are all waiting. I did like to listen to the coach part because Dylan, you were talking about Dylan's been to basketball games since he was 6 months old,
yes.
So it was good to hear that. And so he's had to put up with that. He's been on a football field or a basketball court since.
And the hardest thing for me growing up was being around some of my peers, that had my dad as a coach, and hearing sometimes they didn't like something he said or did to him or whatever, and you had to listen to that. That was one of the hardest things as a kid growing up, and when Dad was coaching,
Oh, I'm sure Dylan's already had to deal with that.
And
so.
It's a very difficult situation, but I think that down the road, I think I learned a lot from that and how to deal with that, because it was not easy to sit, on the sidelines like you had said, like your dad, and listening to people badmouth your dad on the sidelines for whatever he's doing, and not to say anything. Dad always told me, hey, stand up with character, don't say anything, just listen and listen to what they're saying. And respond in your own way away from it.
There's some good things coming up here. What did we say Blair's nickname was?
Your mom
Donna Blair
is asking right now.
Noodles.
Like,
Noodles.
I ain't going to forget it.
Noodles. And I almost brought my license plate today, and I was going to set it up right in front of me, and I was like, well, I'll wait for that.
You had a license plate that had noodles on it?
Oh, yeah. I'll bring it next week.
Please do.
Please do.
That's one thing that Dad, and like we talked about it already earlier in the show, one before, but, I'll know when he's at a game. He wants to get my attention. He yells noodles across the gym floor, and only him and I really knew that. And so
but when
I heard noodles,
the pious crowd's gonna be holding up noodles next year.
Write that down.
R7 over here too. But. That was one thing that Dad always said yelled on the sidelines, and so that gets my attention. But that's I don't normally listen at all anything on the sidelines, but when I hear Dad's voice yell noodles across the floor, I know my eyes immediately turn to where he's sitting at.
And Jeff Whitener asked, do the rest of you have nicknames?
Yeah, Zach,
Before we get, I'm putting off your dad thing here.
Man, it's like an encore of this. This is
we already got McTray as one nickname.
You got McDreamy or something too, or
is that McTray from shooting a three? Is that what it may be?
I guess
it said as soon as he walked in the gym.
All right, what's the nickname that your dad would has given you? Can we say those?
Bubba. That's about it.
Yeah,
that's about it.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
What nicknames is your dad giving you, Mr.
Well, I mean, some of those
probably
we can't
a lot
say
of
on the
four-letter
air.
words.
I don't know that we can say that on this family show.
Well, that's
family
true.
Show.
I'll give you a hint though. He was really great about my dad said there's so many layers.
He's got like 4 pages of notes about it.
Oh, thank you, Ray. Thank you. Saved by the music.
We'll come back for segment 3 for Coach
an entire segment just for you.
And we're going to cut to you, Ray.
I kind of did that as a joke, but I guess we will cut away.
I mean, it is that time. We can cut away.
It is that time, and we will be right back.
And I'll say real quick, I really admire what you guys do with this. I think everybody who's ever tuned into one of these, whether it's a Legion game, whether it's a high school baseball game, with basketball, football, whatever it is, I've heard nothing but tremendous feedback about Livestream STL and what you guys do and the quality of production, things like that. I would really encourage anybody who's involved in athletics throughout the county, or really anywhere in the metro area, anybody who's interested in sponsoring activities to get on board and get involved with this. I think it's added a ton to what we do here. It's added a ton to the program. You guys are a class act, and you're committed to doing things the right way, and we really appreciate that.
Since their inception in 1980, SMCI has always been about high integrity and treating people the way you would want to be treated, just like family. Mostly known as a commercial contractor, SMCI has now decided to give the family treatment to everyone. They are now opening their residential department to the public as Home by SMCI, so everyone can experience the home treatment. Everyone deserves maximum comfort in their very own home. Isn't it time you come home? Contact SMCI at 636-337-4444 or on the web at homebysmci.com.
I wonder what Coach Jarvis is up to.
Jason! What's up? What's up? Man! Oh, hang on a minute. I got a call from Blair. What's up?
What am I doing? I'm sitting here watching the coach's box.
This must be a wrong number.
What's up?
Just letting you know what's going on this week. Jeffco Diamondcast Baseball out at Rock Memorial. That'll be Wednesday at 7:30. 7:15 will be our pregame. Jeff Whitener and myself will be having that game in its entirety. So tune in to Livestream STL on all of our outlets right here. And if you're interested in that Roku channel again, this is how you get a hold of it. Videos.tkdssports.com. Check that out. It's $4.99 a month. Also, if you're going to be tuning in to our game Wednesday, don't forget we'll be broadcasting live from the Jeffco Diamondcast Home Dome. Thank you, Lawrence Kroedinger over at SMCI, for naming our dome, which you guys haven't even seen it yet. We've got a brand new dome. It's screened in, and so we're talking no mosquitoes.
It's pretty sweet.
I'm loving that.
Pretty
you know?
sweet.
So
You guys got like an air conditioning unit too?
we're working on that. Actually, Riley had an idea for me, and we're going to work on something like that.
Yes.
So also, don't forget, we've got Main Street Sports coming up this week. I believe it's going to be Thursday at noon. We're working on details on that, so check us out there. We'll be probably right back here at La Pachanga, so check that out. And if you're interested in sponsoring us for any of our upcoming baseball or shows, you can sponsor with us by giving me a call, 314-852-4398, or log on or you can email us here at livestreamstl@outlook.com. Sponsor with us. We'd appreciate that. And we're going to jump back in here to our next segment. Before we do, we're going to talk a little bit about, and I guess I'll set this up for this segment with everybody here. Guys, we're going to be doing something brand new this next week. Number one, we'll let you guys know that our next show will be Sunday evening. That will be 7 o'clock from here, Sunday evening coming up. I believe is that the 28th?
It is.
It is the 28th. And we're going to be doing something brand new. We're going to invite you guys here to La Pachanga. We're going to do an in-house show. We're going to pipe all of our show PA out here. It's for everybody to hear. And you're going to take your questions too. But you have to be here in order for us to take your questions. You see, I'm waving around this new pen. Happy Father's Day to me.
Hey.
Right there. How about that?
Hey.
So you never know that this little thing right here is such a lifesaver when it comes to doing what I do, but it really does. But anyway, going back to this, we are going to be having an in-show here. If you show up here and you mention Livestream STL, you're going to get 15% off all of your meals here that Sunday evening, the 28th. Just mention that to your waiter or waitress, and you'll get 15% off. And we're going to be doing some giveaways as we speak as well. So
I'm here for live stream. Do I get a 15% off?
Right.
I hope so.
Right? We'd love to have the 15% off because
I think
we're here
we
every
can try
week.
that.
Sometimes we're here twice a week. So,
Joel would be hurting if I did that.
Right?
Riley comes in here every night and says, "I'm here for live stream."
Yeah, right.
Nobody here.
Can I have the live stream discount? Right? There you go. So we're going to move into our next segment. Take it away there, Mr. Miller.
Well, I mean, I guess we need to finish up with this dad's thing.
Well, before you want to go, does Ray want to kind of talk a little bit about Father's Day for him about
there
his
we
dad?
go.
I think that would be a.
Look at you.
It's going to be an awe moment, I guess. Okay. So, my dad, my mom and dad were really young when they had me. And so there wasn't a whole lot of learning, I guess, from dad as much when I was younger. But I would have to say if there's anything that stayed with me for as long as it has, and it's just driven me and given me a passion for my entire life, is, my dad used to always have a saying, ain't never did nothing. And
I like that.
And and it's really kind of a thing that's lived with me for so long. And I've told this to my kids too, because it's when especially as a dad, when they need to hear that, it's very important to drive that home, and it gets in your heart, gets in your soul.
Yeah.
And so it's that's what I've always lived by. So when people tell you can't, I always have that thing kind of rise up in me and say, ain't never did nothing. And the minute, you just get a rush at that point, because I've seen so many times where people have told me I can't do this, or I can't do that, or this, that, and the other, and it was like, you watch, and it's not out of the wrong meaning or the wrong demeanor. It's just I think I can do that.
I think
I know I can do that.
Now on.
Ain't never did nothing. So there it is. Because there was times it was just like I've had situations where my dad was one of those guys. He's a sheet metal worker for 40 something years. Same basically from the time I was born, I think. And he just retired like 3 or 4 years ago. Probably not even that long. Probably 2-3 years ago. So long story short, what that whole thing is he comes home, faithful. He and my grandpa both worked at the same place, and so they would come home, and if there wasn't a car to work on, or there wasn't something around the house to work on, he rested, but I mean he was a worker. He worked hard, and taught us how to work hard. And so it's I take those values seriously, and so like I remember times where I remember getting my first car and things go wrong with it. He taught me how to do brakes. He taught me how to change tires. He taught me how to put a whole new brake line on. Things like that. So I mean, how to change out an engine. You okay there, Jarvis? But it's it just is what it is. I mean, that's the way we lived, and it's values like that, and it doesn't seem like it's that big of a value, but I mean that's just been the motivation of our being in our lives, and I've taught that to my kids, and when they say you can't, I was like, hey, wait a minute, can't ain't never did nothing. Come on, let's go. Right. You can do this. So that's the big thing that I've always pulled away from my dad.
Good.
So there you go.
Keep that. So when you see that on the back of one of our shirts for
can't ain't never did nothing,
Ray's gonna be like, you stole that.
Halbrook. Let's put Halbrook underneath it.
Copyright.
That's right. Mr. Halbrook said that. We're using it.
There it is.
Well, I guess I'll finish up on this.
All right. I can't wait. Buckle in.
Gosh.
Here we go. Let's get started.
Everybody get ready. I mean, I've had an interesting relationship with my dad, and being an only child, surprising, I know, right? Being an only child was really, really tough sometimes, but my dad was a union painter, and he did it for, God, I don't know how many years, probably 30-some-odd years. And at one point, I mean, I always thought my dad was probably one of the toughest guys I know. He grew up in South St. Louis. He grew up at a time when he had to fight pretty much anybody.
Yeah.
So he always had that chip on his shoulder. He always wanted me to have a chip on my shoulder. I grew up, I was a little shy and backwards and bashful. I know it's hard to believe.
No.
But truthfully, that's kind of how I was. And I was kind of a little bit the exact opposite when it came to some of the stuff that he did. And I was pretty passive, and he was not. He always believed that people, if you want something, you have to go after, you have to achieve it. And if anybody tries to get in your way, you just kind of run them over. And that's kind of how he really taught me. So one of the things that I always took away from him was just how hard you guys all said. And I think that's one of the things that he really tried to impose on me was you're going to have to work hard. Mm-hmm. And he always wanted a better life for me. He would work out of town. He would live in a suitcase for months. Back when you used to have those prepaid phone cards and you call from a payphone. And that's how I talked to my dad for many nights when I was growing up. So when we bought the farm, we moved. We used to live in Arnold. We moved to the farm in Annapolis. It was a different life than what I was accustomed to. So you had to work hard. And he once I got to the point where I was old enough to drive a tractor or to build fence or to do those things, I was doing it. And there was no questions asked about it. And there wasn't anybody else I could pawn any work off of. Now, the funny part is my dad wasn't exactly mechanically inclined, so there was times where, now, if you don't know this or not, here's your life lesson for the day. If there's a diesel engine, do not run it out of fuel. And he'd be cutting hay, and all of a sudden that thing would conk out because the fuel gauge didn't work on it. And he'd get mad, and I'd go running down. I said, what happened? He said, it ran out of fuel. I said, well, now? He said, go get the manual. Okay, and some wrenches, and read and fix it. And that's how I learned how to fix tractors. He didn't teach me. He didn't know. And so there was many times where I had to learn to use a chainsaw there's a chainsaw. Okay, that's cool. So I had to learn a lot. But I laugh about it now because the crazy part about it is I'm going, well, what the heck? Come on, just show me how to do it. I had to learn a lot by just learning to do things. And one of the things that Dad was really big on, and he didn't necessarily come out and say it, there was no learned helplessness at the house. Mm-hmm. If you watch, and I try to teach kids by be active, be proactive, and go out and do things. Don't feel like you can't ever do anything. Like the video where the people are on the escalator in this empty mall and it breaks down, and they're in the middle of it and they're just yelling for help, the escalator's broke. And kids laugh at it, so why don't they walk? I go, that's great. Why don't you?
why don't you guys figure this is called learned helplessness. This is how people are. That was not allowed.
Right.
So I had to learn from an early age that this is how it is. So kind of like what Ray said, I wasn't as athletic as my dad. I wasn't as – because he was a great basketball player, a baseball player. Anything he picked up, he was really good at. So I had to work. I had to blame my mom. Her genetics were not as good as his. So, and I think I've told this story. I don't know if I have or not, but whenever I was playing 6th grade basketball, yeah, I've told that one. And, I had to cry and stuff because he's all coming off the road. And so it really motivated me because my dad was my hero. He was the guy I wanted to impress. He was in once I got to the point where I showed that interest in basketball and in sports, then we connected because that's what he wanted. He would talk sports with his friends. I noticed that. I had to learn it, that you couldn't talk sports out of your butt. and you had to be able to hold those conversations. So then that kind of got him more interested, and he saw that I was taking it serious. And I developed a love for basketball because of what he put out there and how important it was for him that sports were for him. That's where I developed it from. I know it's probably like the backwards way of doing it, but I wanted to impress my dad. Mm-hmm. Right. And I never did get to the point where I fully impressed him because I could score 27 points in a game. And I do remember specifically riding home and him going, well, you let that guy score 15, so what does that mean? You only scored 12.
Right.
And it's like, well, good God, man. I mean, this is like the best night I've had in my life. And that was kind of how things went. And he's very very tough to get a compliment in. I think I was complimented when I got into coaching. He thought I was crazy. When I started losing a lot more games than I won, he did tell me how crazy I am. Mm-hmm. If you watch the commercial for the show for this week, those are all pretty much conversations I've actually had with my dad. You didn't call a timeout. You didn't win as many games. I remember I was probably about 10 years in coaching. I'm going and visiting the farm. We're having dinner, and he kind of stops, and he looks at me, and he said, how long have you been doing this? I said, 10 years. And he said, you haven't even won 100 games yet. You're just not very good. Okay, thanks. That sucks. So, and there's many times where, and I know my dad without a shadow of a doubt. And I will joke about it, and if you know him, you understand it. Mm-hmm. But I love my dad. I know he loves me. He is my biggest fan. Oh yes. But he has a very funny way of coming about it and showing it.
Well, I'll step in with that because I remember being on the call district championship game, and I mean, as soon as those officials waved that shot off, your dad was the first person on the floor. And he was the last person.
He was already on the floor.
As the shot went in, he was waving it off. And I watched this, and I'm going, holy crap, what is he doing? And he is on the floor. I'm telling the kids to get off the floor because I'm worried about getting the technical. And here he is out there just doing this. And I'm going, and look back at it, and you're right, Riley. He really enjoyed that season, and I've said it 1,000 times. Number one for the kids to experience that, and then that game was even higher. But to experience winning a district for them is something they can always look back on. For me, when I got into coaching, and the same thing when I got into started playing basketball in the first place. I want him to enjoy it because we all know this. Once we get to a point where we really can't play, it's just living vicariously through our kids or through our, as coaches through our kids and what they accomplish. And that's one of the things that I look at. I was so happy that he got to experience that. And for anybody who doesn't know, my dad is a pancreatic cancer survivor. Mm-hmm. And if you ever see him and you know him, please tell him to stop smoking. That'd be great. And good luck on that. But
I've tried.
So there was a point about, I don't know. I mean, it's been 7-8 years ago, I think, when I first started Grandview. I didn't know if I was going to see my dad
another day.
And it was tough. There was a tough time. So I always felt like every day that I had those moments to talk sports or for him to get to see me coach, that was a blessing. Right. And some of those games that he did get to see when I coached, I didn't feel like they were blessings because then I had to listen to, okay, listen, I'm going to go watch Sykeston and Charleston play because, well, let's just face it, son, you're just not very good. And I kind of felt like, is he talking about me too? But I get it. He travels everywhere and watches basketball. People down south think he's Coach Miller because he's everywhere. So it was one of those things where I understood it, and I know how he is, and I know what he wants. He always wants the best for me, but that's how I was raised, and that's what I. From a basketball standpoint, that's one of those things that it's a special relationship. It is very frustrating at times.
Oh, yeah.
When he has to give you his opinion, and his opinion is just the way it should be, and he disagrees with everything that you're doing. And then at the end, if he's right, then I got to eat it, and if I'm right, he was still right at one point in time.
Somewhere down the line.
Somewhere down the line, he was right, and he said it, but I wasn't listening, I guess. But it's very interesting, our relationship. And my nickname with him has always been Jim. I don't have any idea where it came from. Oh yeah, I know. It's the funniest thing. And my friends, when I was in school, started. My dad's famous saying was "quit it." He would just say, quit it. Quit it. He did that for years. I don't think he still does it because all of a sudden my friends started doing it. And my daughter loves saying quit it now, and I'll do like, quit it, Jim. And but he worked with a guy, I think his name was Jim on the road, and this guy called everybody Jim, something like that. So I know he comes off the road one time, and next thing I know, he's calling me Jim. Hey, Jim, go over and get that. I'm like, what? Are you talking to me? Or he would just say, hey, I just told you to go. No, you didn't. Yeah, I did. I said, Jim, get over here. Who's Jim? Who is this guy? And so it just stuck. So then all my friends would tease me about it. It's like, Jim, get over there. Or they call my dad Big Jim. They call me Little Jim. So this was one of those things where it's just like, Jim. Or it's a true story. He's looking across the court at me because he'll sit. I always call it the 50-yard line, half court, right in the middle. And first he likes talking to the officials after halftime when they take the ball out of bounds. And the second thing he likes to do is he likes to give me hand signals. Mm-hmm. Call a timeout. I'm like, stop. Or get that kid out. I'm like, stop it. And so after a while, and this happened when I was in school too. So when I'm playing, I come out of a game, I sit down, and they're like, what are you doing? I said, my dad's trying to talk to me. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. So the same thing is or he'll go to a smoke break at halftime. He'll tell one of my assistant coaches, and then so I got a guy that said, yeah, your dad said, yeah, okay, I don't care. Or the same thing. It's just this crazy thing that he always still tries to talk to me all the time while I'm coaching. But it's fun. There's some times where he's been right. I can't say he has not been right.
Right.
And he's watched a lot of basketball, so there's no denying that he's seen it. But there is this definite, have you coached it or not? So the one thing is I can always throw in his face, hey, how many district championships you won? That's what I thought, Coach Miller. Go to the hospitality room. Which, by the way, if you haven't, he's probably in the hospitality room right now. If there's a tournament right now, he's probably there or in the smoking section. But I love my dad. It was good. We had a good talk yesterday about some sports and different things. So I'm sorry I rambled on, but I'm telling you, I can make this into an entire show.
Agreed.
And it's great. He's a lot of fun. It's, again, difficult, but if you haven't met him, you're missing out.
And he'll talk your ear off.
Oh, yeah. Just ask Riley. Had a conversation on the phone with him between St. Louis and Kansas City without hanging up.
Yep. Not one time.
Wow.
Not one time.
It's hard to get off the phone.
As my wife sat next to me and just listened to the whole conversation.
Half of it was probably about how terrible I was.
Maybe for a third of it, maybe.
Just to Columbia. Just to
Columbia. That's good. That's good. Once you get to Boonville, you need to have a straight sail in there. So, as you can see, all of us have had a big impact. Our fathers have had a big impact on our lives. Obviously, speaking personally, I know for a fact that I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if it wasn't for my dad.
Yes.
And I think even whether it's because of what they wanted, what the stuff they instilled in us, or just in general of the things they taught us, I would have to say that we all bring something to the table based on our experience with our dads.
And I think that we pass that along to our own kids. And I think you see that, and then when now we get into coaching and we're coaching kids, I think that you see some of the things that they taught us that we're passing on to the kids that aren't even ours, but they kind of look up to you as dad at some point. And so I think that that's the impact that your fathers have on you. And so I can tell you that any kid out there, take an important lesson from your parents. If you can say anything at all, take some big lessons from your parents.
I said it all the time, and I didn't realize until I was probably 23 or 4. If I'd have just listened to my mom and dad a little bit more, my life would be a lot easier. My student loan payment would be cheaper. I could just go on and on all the things that they were correct on, and that I was that 15 or 16-year-old kid that, you don't know what you're talking about, Dad. Yeah. He did. And, I tell kids in the classroom that all the time. You sit there and talk about how much you're mad at your mom or your dad or this or that, but if you would just listen to them, take it from me, listen to them now. And then you won't make as many mistakes.
Yep.
Well, I think if you take the lightning strike out of it, we've had a pretty long show, but I think, especially whenever we're talking about our dads, we can obviously do this and put so much into it.
Agreed.
Because there's just, again, so much that they've instilled. So it's been a fun show. We're going to turn it over to Ray and for the guys. Thanks for tuning in. Ray, go ahead and send us home, man.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for watching. Sorry about the difficulties, but I think we got ourselves back on track. I wanted to just remind you one real quick. It is really black out there.
It looks really scary out there.
Those clouds are dangerous.
So before we get pounded with another storm, we'll let you know about our Coach's Box live this Sunday evening. Come on out. We want to invite you out.
Be here.
Make sure you get here. 15% off of your bill by mentioning Livestream STL. Come and listen in to the show. And also, we're going to be doing some giveaways, maybe like a gift certificate, maybe some drinks and things like that we might be giving away. So make sure you come in and mention Livestream STL.
Get
and
the Brothers Pizza, right?
yeah, you can get the Brothers Pizza, or you can get what I like. I like the chicken quesadilla here. Hey, there you go.
So I think the
Blair special.
The Blair special, yeah.
The big thing about it is we'd like to see you in here. One thing that La Pachanga has done a fantastic job of is allowing us to come in here week after week and take over this little space that we have. But, they've been very gracious to us, and so we want to give back to this business to be able to say thank you for allowing us to come here week after week and being able to do this show. So if you're out there on Sunday evening, come on out. I think it's going to be a fun show. You're going to have a lot of fun events for this Sunday night. We're going to have some questions and that Ray is going to ask us coaches.
We have trivia coming up.
Kind of like the 4 o'clock fight on 101 ESPN, and so us four are going to go after each other and see who has the most correct answers. So it ought to be a fun show on Sunday, and we'd love to have you here. Like I said, Ray mentioned about gift certificates. I think that's going to be, you have to come in here, you have to ask questions live for those to be entered into getting those gift certificates.
Must be present to win.
I'm calling Zach McVey winning this week.
Do you?
Yeah. Wow. Dark horse, right?
Dark horse. About that, right?
Hey, trust me, I've actually covered your classes.
Criminal Minds action.
There you go.
Tons of useless trivia coming.
If you ask Lawrence Crodinger, he's going to tell you that Chris Miller is the man of useful knowledge. He has all the useful knowledge you need to know.
From what we heard, you guys cleaned up the last trivia.
Okay, I'm not going to make myself sound like a complete nerd. Just a little bit.
He said he answered one question out of the 100, and you answered 99 of them.
No, I didn't. No, Shooty was on top of it. I was just there.
Well, I can tell you I'm not winning. What? I am not a trivia person at all.
Oh, man.
I'm like who is it, BK or whoever on the fast lane is terrible at it.
Brad Thompson.
I'm Brad Thompson, man. I'm Brad Thompson of this, so I can tell you that right now.
Sure you don't want to be me?
There you go. All right, guys, we're going to wrap things up. Thanks so much for watching the Coach's Box. Again, we'll be here Sunday evening, 7 o'clock. Make sure you come on out in order for you to be entered into some of our trivia things and our things that we're giving away. So until then, we'll see you Sunday. Have a great week. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.